What would you do if someone you trusted with your child turned out to be their worst nightmare? Imagine a young girl, excited and happy, living her life as any 8-year-old should. Then one day, she disappears without a trace. It's every parent's worst fear, and for Huang Na's mother, it became a tragic reality. In October 2004, Singapore was captivated by a nationwide search for this little girl. The community came together, hoping for her safe return. But soon, that hope was shattered when someone close to her, someone she called Uncle, revealed a horrifying truth. This isn't just a story about a missing child. It's about a terrible betrayal that led to her tragic murder. How could someone so trusted do something so unspeakable? And what drove him to commit such a crime? Join us as we delve into this heart-wrenching case that shook Singapore. Huang Na was born in 1996 to farming parents in Fujian, China. Her mother, Huang Shuying, had married Huang Na's father, Huang Qingrong, in 1995 after discovering she was pregnant. However, when Huang Na was still very young, her parents discovered after her mother found out that Qingrong was having affairs while working in Singapore. Shuying was granted full custody of Huang Na, and she later remarried a businesswoman named Zheng Wenhai, with whom she had another child. In May 2003, Shuying moved to Singapore with Huang Na, who was just 7 years old, to give her a better life and education. Huang Na enrolled at Jintai Primary School, and they lived at the Pasir Panjang Wholesale Center, where her mother worked as a vegetable seller. Despite the difficult circumstances of living far from home, Huang Na adapted well. She was known for being an intelligent, outgoing, and independent child who made friends easily. Those who knew her described her as playful and always smiling. Her mother worked long hours, so Huang Na often roamed the wholesale center, which became her playground. It was at the wholesale center that Huang Na met Tuk Leng Hao, a Malaysian man who worked as a vegetable packer. Born in Malaysia in 1981, Tuk had moved to Singapore at 18 in search of better paying work. He married an Indonesian woman and had a son. At the wholesale center, Tuk was often seen playing with Huang Na, giving her rides on his motorcycle and even buying her food. Huang Na trusted him completely, referring to him as affectionately as uncle. He had even lived with Huang Na and her mother for a time, which made the betrayal all the more shocking. Tuk, a quiet and reserved man, didn't raise any suspicions. Many people thought he was harmless, but in reality, Tuk harbored dark intentions. Little did anyone know, the man she trusted the most would soon become her killer. On October 10, 2004, 8-year-old Huang Na vanished without a trace, last seen playing with Tuk Leng Hao at the Pasir Panjang Wholesale Center. Huang Na was wearing a blue denim jacket and Bermuda shorts and was barefoot on the day of her disappearance. What made the situation even more distressing was that her mother, Huang Shuying, was not in Singapore at the time. She was in China, attending to family matters. The moment her disappearance was reported, a massive search was launched. People from all walks of life across Singapore were mobilized. The entire country seemed to come together in the hopes of finding the little girl. Flyers were printed and distributed, showing Huang Na's face, and her disappearance was broadcast across the media. It wasn't just the authorities looking for her. Volunteers, local organizations, and ordinary citizens joined the search. Taxi companies, including ComfortDelGro, urged their drivers to keep an eye out for the missing child, and some even put posters inside their cabs. For weeks, the search continued. Crime Library Singapore, a voluntary group dedicated to locating missing persons, distributed over 70,000 leaflets appealing for information, and even rewards were offered. One Singaporean offered 10,000 Singaporean dollars, while another pledged 5,000 Singaporean dollars for information leading to Huang Na's whereabouts. Speaking of which, the search didn't stop at Singapore's borders either. Volunteers extended their efforts to nearby Malaysia, posting flyers in cities like Johor Bahru and Kuala Lumpur. Some coffee shop owners in Malaysia even joined in the cause, displaying missing person posters in their business. During this time, Tuk Leng Hao, who had been with Huang Na before she disappeared, stayed in Singapore and actively participated in the search. He acted as if he was genuinely concerned, even assisting volunteers and comforting Huang Na's distraught mother. But while he appeared to be helping, Tuk was hiding a dark and terrible secret. He knew all along what had happened to the little girl. Days turned into weeks, and despite the massive efforts to find her, Huang Na's whereabouts remained unknown. Hope was starting to dwindle as more time passed, but no one could have guessed that the man helping in the search, someone Huang Na had trusted, was the one responsible for her disappearance. The truth was far more chilling than anyone could have imagined. As the investigation progressed, Tuk was questioned by the police. He initially denied having any involvement in Huang Na's disappearance, but his behavior raised questions. On October 21, just days before he was scheduled for a polygraph test, Tuk fled Singapore. He escaped to Malaysia, where he hid for about a week. However, on October 30, he surrendered to the Malaysian authorities and was extradited back to Singapore. Once back in custody, Tuk confessed. He revealed that on the day of Huang Na's disappearance, he had lured her into a storeroom at the wholesale center under the guise of playing hide-and-seek. Inside the storeroom, he attacked her. The details of the crime were shocking. Tuk strangled Huang Na with his bare hands after she accidentally hit her head and vomited. Fearing that she would survive, he ensured her death by striking her repeatedly on the back of the neck. To cover his tracks, Tuk wrapped Huang Na's body in multiple layers of plastic bags and stuffed her into a cardboard box. He then dumped the box at Telok Blangah Hill Park, where her body was later found. For weeks, the community had been searching for a girl who had already been brutally murdered by someone she trusted. Forensic experts played a crucial role in piecing together the crime. Huang Na's DNA was found in the storeroom where Tuk worked, along with denim fibers from the jacket she wore that day. Her body was wrapped systematically in 9 layers of plastic bags, indicating that Tuk had planned the disposal carefully, likely using his experience as a packer. The forensic team also found traces of mangoes in Huang Na's stomach, which matched the mangoes Tuk had bought before her disappearance. Tuk's actions seemed premeditated, but during the trial, his defense argued that he suffered from mental illness, specifically schizophrenia. They claimed that Tuk's mental state diminished his responsibility for the crime. However, this defense did not hold up. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence of his guilt, including his confession and the forensic findings. Tuk's trial began in July 2005, and it quickly became one of the most high-profile cases in Singapore's history. The prosecution presented a detailed case, supported by forensic evidence and Tuk's chilling confession. Tuk, on the other hand, did not testify during the trial. His defense argued that he was delusional and not fully aware of his actions. But this was rejected by the court. On August 26, 2005, Tuk Leng Hao was found guilty of Huang Na's murder and sentenced to death. The judge ruled that Tuk had intentionally lured and killed the young girl, dismissing the defense of diminished responsibility. The evidence was too strong to ignore. After his conviction, Tuk appealed his death sentence. In a rare 2-to-1 split decision, the Court of Appeal upheld the sentence. The majority of the judges ruled that Tuk was fully responsible for his actions and that the murder was premeditated. His appeal for clemency was later rejected by Singapore's then-president S.R. Nathan in January 2006, and Tuk was hanged on November 3, 2006, bringing an end to a case that had left a deep scar on the nation. The murder of Huang Na remains one of the most tragic and heartbreaking cases in Singapore's history. It was a story of trust betrayed, a young life cut short by a man who took advantage of that trust. The case highlighted the importance of community efforts in searching for missing children, but it also reminded everyone of the darker side of human nature. For the family of Huang Na, the pain of losing a beloved daughter in such a horrific way is unimaginable. But through this tragedy, her memory continues to live on, reminding the world of the importance of protecting the innocent and holding those who harmed them accountable. What do you think about this case? Do you believe Tuk Leng Hao's actions were premeditated, or could his claims of mental illness have played a larger role in his crime? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this episode. If you found this story compelling, please like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our next in-depth investigations on Real Crime Zone. See you in our next video.